The sound of laughter echoed through the modest suburban home as David stretched out on the living room couch, idly flipping through TV channels. His twin sister, Lily, entered the room carrying a shopping bag filled with colorful fabrics and makeup products. "What's in the bag?" David asked, raising an eyebrow but keeping his eyes on the screen. "Oh, just supplies for tonight," Lily replied with a mischievous grin. David glanced her way. "Supplies for what?" Lily plopped the bag down on the coffee table and gave him a sly smile. "You'll find out soon enough. Be ready by 7. "Oh, and wear something easy to take off." David narrowed his eyes but shrugged it off. It wasn't unusual for Lily to rope him into her plans, and he usually didn't mind. He had no idea this would be the start of a night that would change his life forever. At precisely 7, David found himself standing in his room, staring at Lily, who held up a knee-length pastel pink dress. "You've got to be kidding me," he said, folding his arms. "Nope. It's all part of the plan," Lily chirped. "You lost the bet last week, remember? This is your punishment." David groaned. "You didn't say anything about this." "I thought I'd just have to buy you ice cream or something." Lily shook her head, her grin growing wider. "Oh no. This is much better. We're going all out, hair, makeup, outfit. You're going to be unrecognizable." David sighed, knowing there was no getting out of it. He had, indeed, lost a bet, and Lily always followed through on her dares. Resigned, he stepped into the dress while Lily busied herself unpacking the contents of her bag. An hour later, David hardly recognized the reflection staring back at him in the mirror. Lily had outdone herself. His short brown hair was styled into soft waves that framed his face, and his makeup, complete with winged eyeliner, blush, and a glossy lip, made his features look surprisingly feminine. The dress hugged his frame in all the right places, and the pair of borrowed heels completed the look. "Wow," David muttered, turning his head side to side. "I look amazing." Lily finished for him, clapping her hands. "You could totally pass as a girl." David chuckled nervously. "Yeah, but why did you go through all this trouble? What's the point?" Lily grinned mischievously. "You'll see." The real surprise came when Lily announced they were heading to a party. It wasn't just any party, it was her friend Katie's birthday bash, and everyone would be there. David balked at the idea of stepping outside dressed like this, but Lily was persuasive. "It's just for fun," she insisted. "No one will know it's you. Plus, you look stunning. Trust me, you'll be the star of the show." Despite his reservations, David found himself tagging along. The promise of anonymity and Lily's unrelenting enthusiasm convinced him to play along, at least for the night. The party was already in full swing when they arrived. The room buzzed with music, chatter, and laughter. As they stepped inside, David felt a wave of nerves. He tugged at the hem of his dress, feeling exposed despite Lily's reassurances. "Katie," Lily called out, waving to a petite blonde in a sparkly top. "This is my cousin, Danny." David shot her a look. "Danny, it suits you," she whispered with a wink. Katie greeted them warmly, completely buying the introduction. David relaxed slightly as he realized no one seemed to recognize him. The room was filled with unfamiliar faces, which worked in his favor. As the evening went on, David found himself enjoying the experience more than he expected. People complimented his look, and he even danced a little, letting the music and the crowd's energy take over. It was liberating, in a strange way, to step into a different persona for the night. Then came the turning point. A tall, dark-haired guy named Eric approached him while he was getting a drink. "Hey, I don't think we've met," Eric said, flashing a charming smile. David froze for a moment before remembering his alias.
"Oh, hi.
I'm, Danny." Eric nodded. "Nice to meet you, Danny. Can I get you another drink?" David hesitated, but ultimately nodded. What harm could it do? It was all part of the act, after all. They ended up chatting for a while, and to David's surprise, he found himself genuinely enjoying Eric's company. He was funny, kind, and attentive, a far cry from the usual macho guys David had encountered in his circle. As the night wore on, David realized he was walking a fine line. Eric's interest was clearly more than casual, and the guilt of deceiving him began to weigh heavy. But part of him also didn't want the night to end. For the first time, he felt seen. Not as David, the easygoing, slightly awkward guy who often faded into the background, but as Danny, a confident, radiant presence who could hold someone's attention. Eventually, the party began to wind down, and Eric offered to walk Danny home. David started to decline but caught Lily's knowing smirk from across the room. She gave him a thumbs up, mouthing, "Go for it." Reluctantly, he agreed. The walk was quiet at first, the crisp night air a welcome contrast to the crowded, stuffy party. Eric broke the silence. "So, Danny, tell me about yourself. What do you do?" David faltered. He hadn't thought this far ahead. "Oh, I'm between jobs right now," he said, keeping it vague. Eric nodded. "That's cool. Everyone's got their own pace." The conversation flowed more naturally after that, and David found himself relaxing again. By the time they reached his house, he almost forgot about the elaborate ruse. "Thanks for walking me," he said, lingering by the door. Eric smiled. "Anytime. I hope I get to see you again." David hesitated, torn between guilt and the strange, unexpected thrill of the evening. "Maybe," he said softly before slipping inside. The next morning, David expected to feel embarrassed or regretful, but instead, he felt different. The experience had been eye-opening, forcing him to confront parts of himself he'd never explored before. Dressing as Danny had started as a prank, but it had unlocked something deeper, a sense of freedom and authenticity he hadn't known he was missing. Over the following weeks, he found himself experimenting more. He started small, trying on Lily's clothes when she wasn't home, watching makeup tutorials online, but it quickly became more than a curiosity. He realized he felt more comfortable, more confident, as Danny than he ever had as David. Lily noticed the change almost immediately. "You've been smiling a lot lately," she remarked one evening. "What's up?" David hesitated but decided to be honest. "I think I might want to do this more. Not just as a joke or a one-time thing. It feels right, you know?" Lily's eyes softened. "I had a feeling. And for what it's worth, I think you make an amazing Danny." Months later, David, now Danny, had fully embraced her new identity. The prank that was supposed to be a fleeting joke had become a turning point, leading her to discover who she truly was. While the journey wasn't without its challenges, Danny faced each one with newfound confidence and the support of those who mattered most. And as for Eric, let's just say he was more than a little surprised when Danny revealed the truth, but he stuck around. Because, as it turned out, he liked her for who she was, no matter the name or the outfit. For Danny, life would never be the same, and she wouldn't have it any other way. Danny's transformation wasn't something she advertised right away, but she also didn't hide it. She started by integrating small changes into her day-to-day life. She swapped out her baggy hoodies and jeans for fitted tops and slim-cut pants. She wore clear nail polish at first, then graduated to soft pastels. Her confidence grew as she slowly but surely built a wardrobe and style that felt authentic to her. Her relationship with Lily deepened during this time. While they had always been close, Lily became Danny's greatest ally and confidant. She introduced Danny to her friends as her sister, and while it initially caught a few people off guard, most were quick to embrace her. One evening, Danny sat cross-legged on her bed, scrolling through her phone. A notification from Instagram popped up. Eric had liked one of her photos. Her heart skipped a beat. The photo wasn't anything particularly special, just a casual selfie in her new favorite lavender sweater, but seeing Eric's name made her smile. "You're glowing," Lily teased from the doorway, peering over Danny's shoulder. Danny laughed and tossed a pillow at her. "It's just a like. Don't make a big deal out of it." Sure, Lily said, grinning. "So, when are you going to see him again?" Danny hesitated. After the party, she and Eric had texted a few times, but she had been cautious about meeting him face-to-face. The fear of rejection lingered, despite his kind and accepting nature. "I don't know. What if he doesn't like the real me?" Lily sat beside her on the bed, her expression softening. "Danny, he already likes you. And if he doesn't accept every part of you, then he's not the right guy. But you'll never know unless you give him the chance. Danny nodded, knowing Lily was right. Taking a deep breath, she picked up her phone and typed out a message. 2 days later, Danny stood outside a small cafe, her hands trembling slightly. She had chosen a simple but flattering outfit, a floral blouse tucked into high-waisted jeans, and kept her makeup light but polished. When Eric arrived, he greeted her with a warm smile that instantly put her at ease. "Hey, Danny," he said, his eyes lighting up. "You look great." "Thanks," Danny replied, her cheeks flushing. "You do too." They ordered their drinks and found a quiet corner table. For a while, they talked about mundane things, work, hobbies, favorite movies. Danny found herself relaxing more with each passing minute. But she knew she couldn't avoid the conversation forever. Taking a deep breath, she said, "Eric, there's something I need to tell you." He looked at her, his expression open and curious. "What's up?" Danny hesitated, her heart pounding. "The night we met, I wasn't entirely honest with you. I mean, I wasn't trying to deceive you, but..." She trailed off, struggling to find the right words. Eric leaned forward, his gaze steady. "Danny, it's okay. You can tell me." Gathering her courage, she said, "I wasn't always Danny. I used to go by a different name, a different identity. That night at the party, it started as a prank. My sister dressed me up, and I didn't expect to meet anyone, let alone you. But after that night, I realized that being Danny felt more like me than anything else ever had." She looked down, bracing herself for his reaction. When he didn't respond immediately, she glanced up and found him smiling. "Thank you for telling me," he said softly. "I can't imagine how hard that must have been." Danny blinked, her eyes stinging with unexpected tears. "You're okay with it?" Eric reached across the table and took her hand. "Of course I am. Danny, I like you for who you are, not because of how you look or what you call yourself, but because of the person you are inside." Relief washed over her, and she couldn't help but smile. "Thank you," she said, squeezing his hand. "That means more than you know." Over the next few months, Danny and Eric grew closer. Their relationship wasn't without its challenges. Danny had moments of doubt and fear, and Eric sometimes struggled to navigate unfamiliar territory, but they faced each obstacle together. Eric became a source of unwavering support, encouraging Danny to embrace her true self fully. Danny also began opening up to her broader circle of friends and family. Her parents were initially confused but ultimately supportive, wanting their child to be happy above all else. At work, she started using her chosen name and dressing in a way that felt authentic, and while there were a few awkward moments, most of her colleagues adjusted quickly. One of the most transformative experiences came when Danny attended her first LGBTQ+ support group. Nervous but determined, she walked into the community center and was immediately greeted by a group of people who welcomed her with open arms. For the first time, she felt like she truly belonged. The prank that had started everything was now a distant memory, but Danny often reflected on that night with gratitude. It had been the catalyst for a journey of self-discovery that led her to a life she never could have imagined. One evening, as she and Eric sat on the couch watching a movie, Danny turned to him and said, "You know, I never thought a silly prank could lead to all this." Eric smiled and wrapped an arm around her. "Life has a funny way of surprising you." Danny rested her head on his shoulder, feeling a deep sense of peace. For the first time in her life, she was exactly where she was meant to be, living authentically, surrounded by love, and embracing the person she was always meant to become. And as she drifted off to sleep that night, she couldn't help but think that sometimes the best things in life come from the most unexpected places. As time went on, Danny's journey continued to evolve. She began sharing her story online, hoping to inspire others who might be struggling with their own identities. Her posts resonated with people around the world, and she found herself building a community of support and connection. Lily, ever the prankster, took great pride in reminding Danny that she had been the mastermind behind it all. "So technically," she said one day, "I'm the reason you found yourself." "You're welcome." Danny laughed, pulling her sister into a hug. "I guess I do owe you one." But the truth was, Danny knew she had done the hard work herself. The prank had been the spark, but it was her courage and determination that had turned it into something meaningful. And for that, she was endlessly proud. Thank you so much for watching till now. It means the world to have you here. This community is all about empowering each other and celebrating the incredible journeys of everyone on their path to living authentically. If you're ever feeling lost or alone, remember you have a whole family here for you. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and let's keep inspiring each other, sending you all the love and strength in the world. Until next time, live your life by your rules.